or welcome back to my channel. Is anyone else having a hard time believing that it's already February? Like, didn't New Year's just happen yesterday and now we're already in month two? Where did the time go? However, I wouldn't say January was one of my best reading months in terms of quantity. I didn't read that many books, but I would say the overall quality was good. Like, I read some of my favorite books and I did have a good time reading the books that I did read this month. I mean, I was a little disappointed that I couldn't get through all the books I wanted to. With that said, I am still kind of in the middle of a couple books, which I normally don't do, read several books at one time, but I did end up doing that this month. So I'm going to go through a little wrap up of my January reads and then the books I hope I could get to or finish this month in February. I started off the year strong with a 5-star read, which might have led to a slight downfall in my reading, but I started off with All In by Jennifer Lynn Barnes, the third installment of the Natural series, which follows a group of teenagers that help the FBI. It's kind of like Criminal Minds, but teenage version. In every book of the series, you get a little bit more of each character's backstory. In this one, we get a little bit more about Sloane, who is one of my favorite characters. She's kind of awkward, she's really smart, and she's kind of like Spencer Reid from Criminal Minds. So I really enjoyed that. I think this might be one of my favorites in the entire series. I haven't read Bad Blood yet, but I do hope I can get to that one really soon. So, 5 stars, my favorite of the year so far. Hopefully that doesn't stay the case and I can't move on from this book. Then I read Dance of Thieves by Mary E. Pearson. When I started reading this and I talked about it in one of my other videos, it turned out my friend was also reading this book at the same time, and I knew that I automatically had to finish it right away. This one is also a really good book. I really enjoyed it. I gave it 4 stars. This book follows a thief named Kazi who is hired by the queen to either find someone or steal something or steal someone. And it follows a guy named Jace whose father has just passed away and he has now become the king of the city or town country that he lives in. And then they end up in an unexpected, terrible circumstance that throws them together, as most books do. I did really enjoy this one. Like I said, I had a lot of fun. There was just like a little part in the middle that felt a little draggy, which is what dropped it down to a 4-star read. If it hadn't had that little draggy moment, it probably would have been a 5-star. Then I read, and I don't have this book with me because I loaned it out. I read Kiki's Delivery Service, which is the book that the Studio Ghibli movie is based off of. I haven't read a children's book in quite a while, so I was a little nervous going into this one, but I was talked into reading it. I already owned it. I was talked into reading it by someone who wanted to borrow my book and wanted to talk about our thoughts after we both read it. So I did read it, and it was such a small read. It's like, I want to say 190 pages, super fast. I could have read it in one sitting, but I still had some work to do, so it got done in 2 sittings. The storyline follows this little girl named Kiki, who's I think 13, and she's a witch. And at 13, witches go and find a new town where they can be the witch of that town and learn to live on their own and have a life of their own. And so she's at that point in her life, and she finds this beach town where she goes and she sets up a shop where she does delivery services. And it's so cute. I wouldn't say that it's as emotional or as, I don't want to say like character driven as the movie, but it's cute. It's very like slice of life, little adventures of each job that she has. It's close enough to the movie that I still had a really enjoyable time reading it. but I wouldn't say that it was better than the movie. I think this is one of the cases that the movie kind of felt a little bit like it had more substance. But I still really loved the book and I gave it a 4 stars. Then I read Anatomy of an Alibi by Ashley Elston, which I didn't know what I was going into. I thought I knew what I was getting into when I started this book. I thought it was going to be like a version of Strangers on a Train, two girls trying to help each other out with an alibi. And that is not what I got. It says, um, Camille Bayliss appears to have a picture perfect life. She's married to a hotshot lawyer, Ben, and is the daughter of wealthy Louisiana family. Only nothing is as it seems. Camille believes Ben has been hiding dirty secrets for years, but she can't find proof because he tracks her every move. Aubrey Price has been haunted by the terrible night that changed her life a decade ago, and she's convinced Benjamin Bayliss knows something about it. Living in a house full of criminals, Aubrey understands there's more than one way to get to the truth, and she may have found the best way in. Aubrey and Camille hatch a plan. It sounds simple. For 12 hours, Aubrey will take Camille's place, Camille will spy on Ben, and the two women will get the answers they desperately seek. However, then Ben ends up dead. I'm going to start out by saying, till halfway of the book, I completely forgot that we were actually trying to figure out who killed Ben. I was more interested in trying to figure out what was going on in this story. Like, what happened with Aubrey's family in the past and the back and forth. The timeline is not linear. It goes back and forth between the past and the present, and it goes through four different perspectives. You get Aubrey, you get Camille, and you get two other people's perspectives. And so it was a little confusing on that front, but by the end, the end twist really did get me. I could not have guessed who the person is and what everything had happened and what was going on. It was not even just the anatomy of one alibi, it was like the anatomy of 4 different alibis. And it was really, really good. I gave this one 4 stars as well. Now, for the books that I am in the middle of, I am currently listening to this book because the movie is coming out and also my parents wanted to read it too. So we're kind of all listening to it together on car rides and we're like in between different jobs or on the way to work or and on the way to church. But it is Project Hail Mary by Andy Weir, which follows this scientist slash junior high teacher named Ryland Grace, who wakes up on a spaceship and he has no idea what he's doing there and how he got there. I think listening to it is probably the best way. If I had tried to just read this book, I don't think I probably would have gotten as far. And it is taking me quite a while, or even the 3 of us, quite a while to get through this because there's so much information and scientific information in it that we are constantly trying to like pause and just let everything sink in and then move back on. But I so far am really enjoying it. I think it's super funny. I love the guy who does the audio voice recording. He is so talented with the different accents and the voices, and he's the way that he's able to like add emotion into his foot. It's just he's very talented. I'm having a lot of fun listening to this. Then I have The Obsession by Natasha Preston. I actually started this back in December and I thought I was going to get it done, but I haven't yet. And I'm so close to being done. Look at that. I have like maybe 1/4 of the book left. So close to being finished with it. I'm just not quite there yet. I don't know if it's like it's slowed down for me or what the issue is, but I do hope that I can finish it this month along with Project Hail Mary. Oh, I forgot to. This is about a young girl whose mom vlogs her whole life, her and her sister. And her mom and her sister are going away for a college trip for her sister, and they leave the main girl home alone. I think her name is Connie. And then all the weird things start happening. She thinks she has a stalker, and but it did slow down. And but I do usually love Natasha Preston's books, so hopefully it picks back up. Some of my favorite books are by her too. I am also reading Pride and Prejudice alongside my students because I'm making them read that for class. This is like, I want to say the third time I'm reading Pride and Prejudice. And obviously, it is one of my favorite classics. It's just, I don't know why, it's just not like hitting right now. Okay, now for the books that I want to read in the month of February. Since I am a mood reader, I am going to keep this kind of light. And like, if I get to them, cool. If I end up picking other books, which might be the case, I want to start, and I think I actually do have to start this book this month because I'm reading it alongside a couple other people, and that is Skyward by Brandon Sanderson. And I'm actually really, really excited about this book because I've wanted to get into reading Brandon Sanderson for some time, and I just never knew where to start. So I'm excited to pick up Skyward and hopefully move on to his backlog of other books because I know he has like extensive world building and huge books, and I really want to try to get into those things and see how he's able to do it. So far, I know this follows a girl named Spensa, whose world's been under attack for decades. Now, pilots are the heroes of what's left of the human race, and becoming one's always been her dream. But her fate is intertwined with that of her father, a pilot himself who was killed years ago when he abruptly deserted his team, leaving Spence's chances of attending flight school at slim to none. I think that this sounds really cool, and that's all I have to say. Then I really want to read The Night Ends with Fire by Chae Ek Song. And this is, I think, it's a Mulan retelling, if I remember correctly. Yeah. It says, infused with magic and romance, this exhilarating fantasy inspired by the legend of Mulan follows a young woman determined to choose her own destiny, even if that means going against everyone she loves. In the war-torn Three Kingdoms, Mei Lin's father decides to sacrifice her future to fund his opium addiction. But when Mei Lin discovers the cruelty of his plans, she disguises herself as a boy and answers the imperial draft. In the army, Mei Lin's determination earns her recognition, friendship, and growing closeness with Sky, her prince-turned-comrade. Yet as war looms, Mei Lin begins to receive visions of a sea dragon spirit who offers her true power at a deadly price. Mulan was one of my favorite movies growing up when I was a little kid. So a retelling of it, that's like a dream come true. Then, actually, this book just came today, and I'm really excited to pick it up. I don't think I've ever read anything by this author before, but when I saw and read about it on Book of the Month when I was picking this month's choice, I knew I had to pick this one up because it seems so interesting. It's Not Her by Mary Kupiec. It says, a stunning discovery, a shocking investigation, a truth no one could have imagined. Courtney Gray's tranquil family vacation is shattered when she hears blood-curdling scream from the lakeside cottage next door. There she finds the lifeless bodies of her brother and sister-in-law. Her teenage Reese is nowhere to be found. Her nephew Wyatt lies asleep upstairs unharmed. As the police descend on the quiet resort town, disturbing secrets about Courtney's family start to emerge. When she learns that the town has secrets of its own, it makes her wonder if Reese is another victim in a brutal crime or if she's the killer. Courtney begins to unravel the terrible mystery, but everyone around her has something to hide, and the closer she gets to the truth, the harder it is to see. Plus, look at that picture. It's so eerie and creepy. It reminds me a little bit of that movie When a Stranger Calls and that girl's babysitting in that house on the lake. I wouldn't have done it. But those are the books that I finished reading in January, and I hope to finish in February this month. I actually would really love to hear what you guys are reading, what you finished last month. What was your 5 stars so far of the year? Thank you. Please like and subscribe for future videos.